It's been a tough few days for investigative journalist Anas Aremeyaw Anas, feted as one of the greatest investigative journalists on the continent. A ruling by an Accra High Court has resurrected age-old questions about his methods and is threatening to derail a lifetime of work that has stood him out as a pillar in the anti-corruption fight in Ghana and beyond. The ruling by the court threw out a defamation suit in which Anas has sought 25 million Ghana cedis against Member of Parliament Kennedy Agyapong after he called the journalist a blackmailer, corrupt, extortionist, and accused him, among other things, of murder. Anas's contention was that those claims by the Asin North MP in his Who Watches the Watchman documentary had unduly tarnished his reputation. The judge in this case disagreed. We'll get into the reasoning behind the judge's decision, but first, a background to a case that has been running for a good part of 5 years. In 2018, Anas's number 12 drew mass audiences, intense social media conversations, and dragged down the Ghana football establishment after it showed the then president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi Nyantakyi, accepting payments for what he thought was sponsorship deals for the organization. It also showed several referees conniving to fix matches and highlighted a rot in Ghana football that journalists had spoken about for years but never managed to prove. The impact of the documentary was immense.
It broke our football. It destroyed our football to the extent that the public lost confidence in the referees, to the extent that we didn't play football for a little over a year. We had to have an improvised league competition. Our referees were banned, some of them for 10 years, some suspended. And the mere fact that people didn't believe in our football as an entity means that number 12 did a lot of damage to our game. And I don't even believe we've recovered from the harsh effect of number 12 on our football.
Not everyone was happy though. Among them, Kennedy Agyapong, who said, quote, "What Anas Aremeyaw Anas did is wrong and cannot be upheld as an investigative work, even on the rule of natural justice," unquote. He wanted the publication of number 12 stopped, arguing that while he is not against the fight against corruption, he had concerns about the Anas approach.
Has he taken a from court? I am not against anybody fighting against corruption. But the approach, we have to be very careful. First of all, what I know is setting up Nyantakyi, because they went to Morocco and according to the sources, they spent about $400,000, which Nyantakyi got about $6,000, all in attempt to sabotage him.
When that pressure failed, the Member of Parliament commissioned his own investigative piece that he said will prove Anas blackmails and extorts from the subjects he investigates. He also accused him multiple times of murder. Anas was railed, so he went to court and filed a defamation suit. The trial went through 5 years, 3 judges, multiple phases, and finally victory for Kennedy Agyapong. He beamed with smiles as he faced the camera, flanked by Kwesi Nyantakyi, whose reign as Ghana Football Association boss came crashing off the back of number 12.
Today, the victory is for the victims of Anas, the people, the good people of this country that Anas has destroyed. All those people who were sacked from their jobs, the people who have died through Anas' illegal investigation should be compensated.
Given the far-reaching consequences of Anas's investigative work in the past, perhaps it is no surprise the elation from certain quarters. Kwesi Nyantakyi said the ruling was a vindication of his long-held position. He said, quote, "The High Court's decision testifies to the truth that Anas Aremeyaw Anas is not honest, but as described by the court, he is a blackmailer and an extortionist. He, Anas, has been totally disgraced. He once portrayed himself as an angel, but today, I'm not even sure he is at the devil's level yet," unquote. Ibrahim Sani Dara was the Ghana Football Association Communications Director until number 12. He says nothing in the judge's ruling surprises him.
The judge was spot on by describing Anas's work as a sham and describing he himself as corrupt and a blackmailer and all those words he used against him. Indeed, what Anas is doing is not journalism, it's terrorism. And this is a crime. This happened to me. I'm not talking for anybody. I speak for myself. And I speak in my case when he sent 2 guys to come to me under a guise, and then went ahead to say, I sent a colleague of mine to receive a bribe on my behalf.
The judge said in his ruling that based on the evidence before him in court, Anas had not proven that Kennedy Agyapong defamed him. He said in his written statement, and I quote, "Some of the long list of words made by the defendant were capable of defamatory meanings, but none was proven to have actually defamed the plaintiff. The facts and the evidence establish the plaintiff as a self-confessed criminal, so defendant's statement is factual and justified," unquote. Anas's reaction to the ruling has been largely shock. Tiger IPI, his outfit, claimed in a statement, quote, "This case traveled through the hands of 3 judges, with Justice Barr being the latest assigned to the case at the express instance of Kennedy Agyapong," unquote. In a video statement, Anas said he will appeal the judgment while reaffirming what he says is his fight against corruption.
The judge made an overreach and descended into the arena and made criminal pronouncement about me as if I was standing a criminal trial. He also justified the MP accusing me of the murder of the late J.B. Dankwa, murder of 20 Chinese nationals, and a host of other crimes. We are filing an appeal because there was no evidence provided.
But just how much damage has the judgment caused the Anas brand, and can he realistically bounce back from this? Reaction to the judgment on social media was almost passive, but there were also those convinced this was power fighting back. What are the implications for the often dangerous field of investigative journalism, though? Former Daily Graphic editor and president of the Ghana Journalists Association, Yawedu Ayabuafo, has more.
As much as possible, we must be transparent in our approach to issues. Where everybody appreciates that there are obstacles that impede us, but the information is in the interest of the public, and therefore we need to do that. We must clothe ourselves with the fact that we may resort to unorthodoxy, but we must also be ready to understand that if we are exposed in the course of applying that unorthodoxy in our investigation, we will pay the price.
However this ends, the judgment provides a compelling test case on investigative journalism and its massive pitfalls for everyone involved.